Good evening, all of you. I hope you all are doing well. And today we are going to do paired passages. Now, when I talk about paired passages, I'm going to talk about, let's go forward. What are basically paired passages and why do we have to understand it? Now, paired passage is a part of your SAT examination where you're getting two passages in one for around 11 questions, and out of both the passages would be considerably smaller than your independent passages. They would be around 400 to 500 words or around 45 to 50 lines, not more than that. If you see your independent passages, they would not be lesser than your, they would not be lesser than your around 85, 90, sometimes 100, 105 lines too. But whereas the paired passages are very small, they are just not more than 45 to 50, at the most 55, and you will have to. The best part about the paired passages is that first thing is they're considerably smaller. Second thing is that you will have around 4 to 5 questions from each passage. Now, out of 10 questions, out of no, they're generally a paired passage will have around 11 to 12 questions, it ranging from 10 to 12, but generally it is 11 and 12 on the other side. Out of which around 4 to 5 questions will come from the first passage and 4 to 5 questions will come from the second passage, and remaining 2 to 3 to 4 questions, depending upon how the ratio goes, you will have from comparing both the passages. So it is better because as I said that it is considerably smaller, scoring that 4 or 5 questions that are independently from the first, from the paired passage, from the passage 1 and passage 2 is easier, because you don't have to go through lengths of questions, lengths of a passage, but a very small one, and it's going to be easier also to find our answer. And if at all you feel that you will not be able to complete it in the given stipulated time, at least you are safe that around 8 to 9 questions will be right, because they are from the independent passages. So rest two, you can just have a, you can just, just put a dot. I mean, if you feel that you're running out of time, or you feel that you're not able to do it, but I would definitely say they're more easier. Yeah, they are a bit time consuming. Both the passages cumulatively, they will ask, because both the passages talk about different things. They would not be talking about a single thing. They would be talking, the topic would be the same, but when it comes to perspective, they would be different. They would be contrasting, or they would be two different things. So we might not, you will not be, though the topic would be the same. For example, the other day I was doing a passage with one of my students. I saw that one passage spoke about how tea became very staple in became a staple drink, how they forsake coffee and they jumped to tea, how the production was, and how India became the largest tea seller of tea, but tiller of tea, and the largest contributor of tea to the European countries, especially Britain. In the second passage, I saw a passage that was completely with, they were talking completely about how you are going to, how a tea is different in every country, how Russians have all the European countries, how the Germans like their tea, how the Russians, how the French, or how the different people like their tea, with what do they eat with, the snack that they eat with, how tea became high tea in Britain, and how tea is basically the calculation of hospitality in Russia, depending on the strongness of the tea. So there was different things that we were reading about. So definitely they are completely different. It is just a topic that it would be the same, tea, it's the same thing, but otherwise they'll be completely two different facets of tea. So that would be the same with this countries also. That is going to be the same with other paired passages too, where they will share the same topic, but they will be giving different perspectives or different things about the about a certain topic. Now coming back to paired passage, we also have this same kind of questions that you will have. You'll have a purpose of the passage, you will have a question from the vocabulary based, you'll have a paired question. So there are going to be all of this. So it's going to be the same like the other passages, it's not going to be anything different, but they're considerably smaller. And the best the unique part about a paired passage are the 2 or 3 questions that we are going to talk about, cumulative passages, cumulatively from both the passages. So that's about paired passages, and let's go forward and check how we can do it. I would always suggest the students to go forward and they should always look at practicing more of paired passages, because it is easier to score. It is getting an 8 or a 9 on 10 in the paired passage is very easy. So please make sure that you don't miss your paired passage, and you get your hands on how to do it and how not to do it, and make sure that you're actually going to work on it better than it's easier to score because they're considerably smaller. That's the first thing. Now apart from that, you have a passage like this, and there is the same thing, you have the same questions here. Okay, they are just the same thing. So they are absolutely the same like your other passages. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. Yeah, so let's go and start doing a passage. It will give us more, better mileage. I will show you how, the same questions come from one passage, and how 4 to 5 questions come from passage 1, and how the rest of the passages questions come from passage 2. So let's see the first question here, passage 1. Passage 1, the first question is from passage 1. Let's go to the second question. Which of the best provides the best evidence to the first answer? So here we are going to talk about the passage 1 answers. I mean, this is a paired question. So this is also from passage 1. Let's go to passage. The third question is also from passage 1. Here in line number 17 is still in passage 1. So question 4 is also from passage 1. Let's go to question number 5. Question number 5. The 4 questions have come from passage 1, and the 5th question is from second passage. Let's see how many lines we have in this. Yeah, so we have around 37 lines. That's considerably very, very small. When you look at it, see, we just have 37, 35, 36, around 40 lines. Not even 40, 37 lines there. And the other things start from here. So let's see the 6th question, the 4th question, and the 5th question, the 6th question is a paired passage. Is a paired question, I'm sorry. The 7th question is also from the second passage. Let's go to the 8th question. 8th question, which of the following plays a role in most similar to the role played by the... So this is also from the first passage, second passage. 8th one. So ninth one is also from the paired passage, second passage. Now here, the 10th one talks about both the passages because shared purpose of the authors of both the passages. Now again, the 11th question is also from both the passages. So that's about the complete thing where we have seen that the whole passage is for 83 lines and which is absolutely smaller than an independent passage that would not be less than 90, 95, 100 or 105 lines, and this is considerably 83 lines only. And it is further divided into two parts, and the first one was about 38 lines and the second one is about the remaining. So therefore we can understand that they are just half, and out of which the first four questions are basically from the first passage, and the remaining 5 questions are from the second passage. That comes to nine questions, and the next two, the 10th one and the 11th one, are basically from the cumulative both the passages. So if not the last two, scoring a 9 on a 10 on this paired passage is definitely easier. Okay, so let's start with this with our passage number 1. Let's start reading it. In the past, so the best part about this the whole thing is that you should make up a flow chart. Making a flow chart will definitely help you understand it better. How to make a flow chart, I'm going to teach you today, so that you will understand how you would how you have to go about it, because this is not a single passage, there are two different passages. So definitely making a flow chart will give you a better mileage. So we will do it. Let's make a small note about what each passage is all about. Okay, in the past passage, due to the burning of fossil oil, see, we don't have any excerpt on the top. They are basically scientific topics, and scientific topics generally don't have any excerpts on the top. We need to understand that. Clear? So it just starts with the passage, so we need to be ready with that. In the past century, due to burning of fossil oils, fuels, now it is not really necessary that you have to work on, you have to make a flow chart. You can even underline whatever you want to do. If you don't want to write, or if you don't want to make a note of it, you can even underline the passage, underline the important keywords in the passage, because this is going to be a pen and paper passage, so the pen and paper question, so I don't think that should be a problem. So let's start reading the passage first. We'll start reading the passage. So it is about, in the past century, due to the burning of fossil fuels in energy plants and cars, acid rain has become a cause of harm to the environment. However, the rain would still be slightly acidic even if these activities were to stop. So definitely in this passage we are talking about, what are we talking about in this passage? We're talking about acid rain. The passage is about acid rain, so let's check. However, has become a cause for, so we are going to talk about acid rain here. Acid rain would continue to fall, but it would not cause the problems we see now. The environment can handle slightly acidic rain. It just cannot keep up with the level of acidic rain caused by burning fossil oil. So in the second, by the 10th line, we are talking about burning fossil oils, that is, that the acid rain cannot tolerate or cannot. What are fossil oils? Let's see what are they. We might have different meaning for each everyone, but we need to understand that we have to keep with the premise of the passage, what the passage is trying to tell us, not have our own ideas. So we are not going to talk about, we are just going to be in the premise of the passage. That is, whatever information this passage provides will be in that premise only. We will not try to bring our outside knowledge into this passage. Okay, so let's look at the question. You'll have the question here. Suggest that. Now here we have already understood that the first two questions are paired questions. So we'll go to the second question also to check. Now here we have to check from 7 to 9 lines, 12 to 14 lines, and 17 to 18 lines, and 25 to 27 lines. So therefore we have to understand that we have to read till 25 to 27 lines. So therefore we can go to the second question first and then come back to the first answer. Okay, let's read 7 to 9. Let us see the question first. What is the first question? The first question says, most strongly suggest that. What does the suggest that? The environment will be serious if people do not reduce the burning of fossil oils. Scientists must find a way to introduce more alkaline water materials. So here let us go to the line 7 to 9. Let's check our answer from 7 to 9. This is from here to here. The environment can handle slightly acidic rain. It just cannot keep up the level of acid rain caused by burning fossil oils. So here, what does it suggest? Just reading first 10 lines, getting to understand what the complete passage speaks about is difficult. So we will not come to a conclusion here. We just started reading the lines so that we understand what are they talking about. So let's talk to the next line. A pH of 7 is considered neutral, while pH below 7 is acidic and pH above 7 is alkaline. So we have to understand that this is very vital information. 7 is neutral. Below 7 is acidic and above 7 is alkaline. Okay. So our basic pure rainwater can have a pH as low as 5.5. We don't have to come here. Rainwater is acidic because carbon dioxide gas in the air reacts with the water to make carbonic acid. Okay, so now coming to 12 to 14 lines, we have understood we were talking about the pH value of the line, rain. So let's go to the further, let's go to the passage. It is a weak, since it is a weak acid, even a large amount of it will not lower the pH of water much. Soil, lakes, and streams can tolerate slightly acidic rain. The water and soil contain alkaline materials that will neutralize acids. So here we need to, underline this. Water and soil contain alkaline materials. This is an important line. Okay, let's go to the next part of the question. Now here it talks about, these include some types of rocks, plant and paper, animal waste and ashes from forest lines, fires. Although these materials can easily handle the slightly acidic rain that occurs naturally. The alkaline waste and ashes will slowly be used up, but more will be made to replace it. Anthropomorphic causes of acid rain, such as the burning of fossil fuels, release nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide gases. These gases react with water to make nitric acid and sulfuric acid. Since these are strong, so what do they release? So we will just make a note of this. Burning of fuel, release nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide gases. This is very important. These gases react with water to make nitric acid and sulfuric acid. Since these are both strong acids, small amounts can lower what? We'll not read the questions now. We'll directly go to the answers, passage. Reduce the pH of rainwater to 3 or less. Such a low pH requires much more alkaline material to neutralize it. Acid rain with a lower pH uses up alkaline materials faster, and more cannot be made quickly enough to replace what is used up. Soil and water become more acidic and remain that way as they are unable to neutralize the strong acid. Now here we have been talking about a pH value in the environment, the kind of gases it releases by burning fossil fuels and all that stuff. So we will be able to do that. We will be able to complete the questions here. First thing is we can complete the 4 or 5 questions that are related to passage 1 here, and we can be done off with. But I would suggest to read the second passage also and then understand it better, because we need to know how both of them are related. Okay, so let's go to the next part of the passage. Next passage. Here we're going talking about passage number 2. In passage number 2, read the first question. In humans, keeping a constant balance between acidity and alkalinity in the blood is essential. If blood pH drops below 7.35 or rises above 7.45, all of the functions in the body are impaired and life-threatening conditions can soon develop. So here we can understand that we are talking about the human body. If we were talking about the pH value in the nature because of rain and burning fossil oils for the environment, here we're talking about the pH value and the acidity and alkalinity in the blood. Okay, so here this is a contrast between the human body and the environment. Clear? So let's go forward with the passage. If all the things, many processes in the body produce acid waste which would lower the pH of blood below the safe level unless neutralized. Several systems are in place. Let's go to the next one. To keep pH constant within the necessary range. Certain conditions, however, can cause acids to made faster that these systems can react. Most of the pH control involves 3 related substances: carbon dioxide, carbonic acid, and bicarbonic acid. These are important, the bicarbonate ions. This is again important information. Carbonic acid is formed when carbon dioxide reacts with water. Bicarbonate are formed when the carbonic acid releases a hydrogen ion. Excess carbonic acid lowers the pH, while excess bicarbonate ions raise it. So this part is important, definitely very, very important in the whole passage. Let's go to the next part. The kidneys store bicarbonate ions and will release or absorb them to help adjust the pH of the blood. Please make a note of this. Breathing faster removes more carbon dioxide from the blood, which reduces the amount of carbonic acid. In contrast, breathing more slowly has the opposite effect. In a healthy body, these systems automatically neutralize normal amounts of acid waste and maintain both pH within the very small range necessary for the body to function normally. Let's go to the next In some cases, these systems can be overwhelmed. This can happen to people with diabetes if their blood sugar drops too low for too long. People with diabetes do not have enough insulin, which the body uses to release stored sugar into the body to supply the body with energy. So what do you have to underline here? In some cases, this can happen due to, this is one important vital information. If their body sugar drops too low for too long, people with diabetes do not make enough insulin, which the body uses to release stored sugar into the blood to supply the body with energy. If a person's insulin level gets too low for too long, the body breaks down fats. The body breaks down fats to use for energy. The waste produced from breaking down fats is acidic, so the blood pH drops if the kidneys exhaust the supply of bicarbonate. Let's go to the next slide. Ions and the lungs cannot remove carbon dioxide fast enough to raise pH. All of other functions in the body begin to fail as well. The person will need medical treatment and support to support these functions until the pH balancing system can catch up. The system will then keep the pH constant, blood pH constant, as long as the production of acid waste does not exceed the body's capacity to neutralize them. See, now we have seen how in the environment we were talking about the acidic waste and how they are going to neutralize it, and what are the gases that are released. And in the body also we have done the same thing. So we are basically in contrast with the body and the environment in both the passages. So let us first start attacking the questions now. Now here I am explaining and I'm going to talk about how to deal with each question. But in the main question paper, so I'm taking a 60 minutes old time to explain it. But in the main examination, or you have to practice using only 12 to 13 minutes for each passage, because that will really help you to complete all the 5 passages in 65 minutes. If you keep this paired passages at the end, saying that you might do it or you may not do it, or scoring is difficult, you're basically wrong. It's a myth. You can score better. Even when I was I started teaching SAT around 10 years back, the students would say that, ma'am, this is the toughest part because we have to read 2 passages and in the limited time. But then when I actually went into it and I saw it is easier to at least score the independent questions that are related to the passage 1 and passage 2. Cumulative questions can go wrong if you don't understand or if you don't make your flow chart. See, we have not written anything, but we have underlined all those things that will be required for us in our quest for our answers. So it is not always necessary that you make a flow chart, but you can also underline, because it's a pen and paper test, and you can definitely use this to score well. Okay, so let's go to go back to all the questions we have understood. We have talked what we are what these 2 passages are offering. Let's go to the questions. Okay. So we have already seen passage 1 most strongly suggests that the environment will be serious if people do not reduce the burning of fossil fuels. Is it what it is saying about? Scientists must find a way to introduce more alkaline materials into the water supply to combat acid rain. We were not talking about scientists at all. So we'll start our elimination of options. Definitely B is not an option. Just take it out. We're not talking about scientists at all. Acid rain will not be a problem in the future as we move away from fossil fuels and towards alternative energy sources. We have not spoken about other energy sources at all. So definitely C also should be eliminated. The next one is acidic rain water is more of a problem than acidic soil because soil contains more alkaline materials. The environment will be serious if people do not reduce the burning of fossil oil. So let's quickly check what it means. We were talking about burning fossil oil. So here we have underlined something. The environment can handle slightly acidic rain if it just cannot keep up with the level of acidity caused by burning fossil oils. Okay, so here it says the environment will be serious if people do not reduce the burning of fossil oils. It is slightly a bit answer, but let's go to let's look at the last answer. So acidic rainwater is more of a problem than a, so we are not talking about this. Let us go because we are still in the beginning of the passage. Here what we have done is 7 to 9 provides us the best answer. We have 12 to 14. Let's look at 12 to 14. Pure rainwater can have a pH as low. Rainwater is acidic because carbon dioxide gas is in the air, reacts with the water to make carbonic acid. Okay, so we have this thing. Let's go to the next 17 to 18. We are talking about soil, lakes and streams can tolerate slightly acidic rain. The water and soil contain alkaline material that will neutralize acids. So the first question here and the last one is 25 to 27. Let's go to 25 to 27 and look at the answer. And anthropogenic causes of acid rain such as the burning release nitrogen and sulfur oxide gases. So I don't think this is going to give us an answer. So therefore 25 to 27 is not what we are looking for. 17 to 18 could be. Let's go to the first question first. The environment will be serious if people do not reduce the, here we have not spoken about reducing see here we can look at this question. However, rain would be slightly acidic if these activities were to stop. Okay, so we will go with option number A. Acidic rain is more of a problem. This we have not discussed it at all. Contains more acidic materials. Though this is, but the whole passage is not about it. The whole passage is about how acidic rain can cause a harm to the environment is the first thing. So look at the first passage that talks about it. The first few lines that talk about it. In the past century, due to the burning of fossil fuels in energy plants and cars, acidic rain has become a cause of harm to the environment. However, rain would still be slightly acidic if if these activities were to stop. So the environment will be serious if people do not reduce the burning of fossil oils is absolutely going with it. So we'll go with the first option and option A. And the second one also will be, I don't think we require much thought, we'll be going with the A, line 7 to 9. This is where we found our answer. Okay, let's go to the next one. According to the information in passage 1, which pH level for rainwater could cause the most damage to the environment? We have already made a note of this, so I don't think we have to again fumble for the answer. Let's look at the options. Okay, here a pH of 7 is considered neutral, while pH below 7 is acidic and pH above 7 is alkaline or basic. Pure rainwater is acidic because carbon dioxide, there is no level there. Okay, so let's check. what is rainwater is acidic. Pure rainwater can have a pH as low as 5.5. See, we already have the answer here. Pure rainwater can have a pH as low as 5.5. Rainwater is acidic because carbon dioxide gas in the air reacts with the water to make, since it is a weak acid, even a large amount of it will not lower the pH of water such. So therefore, let's say, according to the information in passage 1, which pH level for rainwater would cause the most damage to the water? We'll go with 5 because we already have a 5.5, 5.5. Do you agree with me? Okay, so we can go a 5 or a 4 or 2.5. All the three answers serve it right. So what we will do is we'll just check the rest of the passage if we have a better one, I mean a lower one, so that to understand that how to negate this. So we'll go forward. We'll keep this at least the 9.1 is definitely not the option, and 5 could not be the option because it is already 5 o'clock, 5 things. So we will not use that. Let's go to the next passage, next part of the question and check. Please read this passage so that you understand it better. See, the pH of rainwater 2, 3 or less. This is what is our answer. So let's go back to our question. We'll go with 2.25. Clear? Let's go to 2.25 is our right answer because anything below 3 or lower is a damage. So it is going to be 2.25. Let's go to the next question. As used in 17, tolerate most means. See the options here, and then we have to go back to 17, line number 17. Here we have this thing: soil, lakes and streams can tolerate slightly acidic rain. So can tolerate slightly acidic rain. So let us see. Definitely distribute is not what it is talking about. So we will leave that out. Acknowledge, no. It is going to be tolerate is endure here, not accept. So B is the right answer. Enduring is tolerating it. So that is what they are synonyms. So we can go with that. Let's go to the next question. Now the questions for the second passage start. So let's start it. A pH. So we have to go to the second passage. A pH of second most strongly suggests that. Now here we have to, this is again a paired question. So we have to go to the next passage. Okay, in humans, if blood of pH drops below 7.35, we have it here. Okay, so all the functions are impaired. So let's go to the first question, fifth question. A pH of 7.35 is ideal for blood. Now here we have to read some of the passage. We already read the first passage. Now we're going to read the second passage. Now In humans, keeping a constant balance between acidity and alkalinity in the blood is essential. If blood level drops below 3.5 or rises above 7.5, all of the functions in the body are impaired and life-threatening conditions can soon develop. So we are going to look at the line numbers here, 38 to 41 are impaired and life-threatening conditions can develop. Let's go to the next one, 46 to 47. Certain conditions, however, can cause acids to be made faster than these systems can react. Yes. The next one is 60 to 64. Yeah, we have it here. In contrast, breathing more slowly has the opposite effect. In a healthy body, these systems automatically neutralize normal amounts of acid base and maintain blood pH within the very small range necessary for the body to maintain function normally. Let's go to 67 to 70 now. Okay, here we have people with diabetes do not make enough insulin, which the body uses to release stored sugar into the blood to supply the blood with energy. So I don't think this is what we are talking about. Let's go to the options now. We have already read the options. Let's go back to question number 6, 5 actually. Yeah. The pH of 7.35 is ideal for blood. No, we have not said that. It says acidic base in the body multiply if not neutralized. No, the normal range of blood pH narrows as a person ages. No, we did not speak about it. Small amounts of acid base in the blood are a normal condition. Yes, which one do you think is the right option? We've gone through all the options, right? Yes, so we'll go with option number. We'll go with D. It is common, is what it says. Okay, let's go to the next question. So where did we find this answer? Let's go and check with 46 and 47. Certain, however, can cause acids to made faster than these systems can react. Yes. We'll go with 46 to 47. You think it's the right answer? You can still check. Let's go to line number 47, 74. Here, 60 to 64 provides the best answer. Than 46 to 47. We'll go with 60 to 64. Let's look at this question. 74, line number 74, fatty exhaust. What does it mean? If the kidneys exhaust their supply of bicarbonate ions, and the lungs cannot remove carbon dioxide fast enough to raise. So we actually looking at exhausting is completing. Let's go to the seventh answer. Yes. Exhaust is not fatigue here. Deplete, consume, or dissolve. We'll go with deplete. Depleting is basically lessening. Fatigue is not, it's becoming basically tired. Consumed is something more similar, but then deplete is the right answer. Okay. And dissolve is also a similar one. But when we look at all the four, they are very near to they're very near. Depleting, dissolve is a better answer than depleting. Okay, so we'll go with D. Let's go to the next question. Which of the following plays a role in the environment most similar to the role played by excess bicarbonate ions in the blood? Let's check. So here, we've already made a note. See, bicarbonate ions are formed with carbonic acid releases a hydrogen ion. We have already underlined it here. You can see it. Excess carbonic acid lowers the pH while excess bicarbonate ions raise it. Right. So here, what we have to do is, what does excess bicarbonate ions do? It raises the pH level. Right? See it here. Raises what? The pH level. So therefore, we have to find a similar one for our in the first passage. So is it acid rain? Is it ashes from a forest fire, or is it sulfur oxide rains or fossil fuel? We'll quickly go back to passage number 1. Here you will see such a low pH level. We have to go back here. Some types of rock, plant and animal waste and ashes from altogether these materials can easily handle the slightly acidic rain that occurs naturally. The alkaline waste and ashes will slowly be used up, but more will be made to replace it. Anthropomorphic causes of acid rain, such as the burning of fossil fuels, release nitrogen oxide and sulfur oxide gases. These gases react with water to make nitric acid and sulfuric acid. Since these are both strong acids, so we have to look at nitrogen acid and sulfuric oxide. Now these react with water to make nitric acid and sulfur. Since these are both strong, small amounts can lower the pH value of rainwater or to 3 or less. Such a low pH requires much more alkaline material to neutralize it. So what we are going to check now is the answer there. Is it acid rain that we're talking about? We are not talking about the acid rain. We are not talking about the ashes from a forest fire. We're talking about sulfur oxide gases, and we're not talking about fossil fuels also. We're talking about C. Clear? Now that was a cumulative question. Based on information in passage 2, which of the following can cause a breakdown of fats to be used for energy? Now we have read this already. An excess of carbonic acid, lower blood pH, a drop in blood sugar, and not enough insulin. Let's go and check the thing. This is basically breakdown of fats. We've already underlined about breaking down of fats, what it does. So let's go and check there. Yeah, here we have talking about the body breakdown fats to use for energy. So therefore, we have to look for the answer here in line number 70 to 75. Okay, we'll go with reading from 67. People with diabetes do not make enough insulin, which the body uses to release stored fats into the blood to supply the body with energy. If a person's insulin level gets too low for too long, the body breaks down fats to use this energy. The waste produced from breaking down fats is acidic, so the blood pH drops if the cat exhausts their supply of bicarbonate. So we'll go back and check the answer. Are we talking about an excess of carbonic acid? No, we are not talking about low blood pH either. We're not talking about drop in blood sugar also. We're talking about not enough insulin. If you have less insulin, you will not have energy, and for that your body has to react in different levels. So ninth question is also from the second passage. Let's go to the 10th question now. Which of the following best describes shared purposes of the authors of both the passages? Let's check the answer options. To describe readers to care for delicate systems such as the environment and human body. Were we talking about encouraging readers? I don't think so. To explain how the human body neutralizes acid waste that it produces and deposits in the blood. In this case, we are only talking about one passage, not the both. To describe systems that can utilize small amounts of acid but become overwhelmed by large amounts. To persuade readers to work towards reducing acid rain by cutting down consumption of fossil fuels. See, here, in all the three options below, B, C, and D, to explain how the human body neutralizes the acid waste that it produces and deposits in the blood. Here, which of the best describes the shared purpose of the authors of both the passages is the question. So we are talking about, we need to have an answer that has both the passages. This B does not have that option. So we will eliminate B. To describe systems that can utilize small amounts of acids but become overwhelmed by large amounts. To persuade readers to work towards reducing acid rain by so D definitely is not the right option. Let's check with A once again. To encourage readers to care for delicate systems. There is nothing called caring at all. So we'll remove the first A option also. The option is C. We require both the systems here, both the passages. Only A and C has both the passages. A talks about a delicate care. We have not spoken about care at all. So therefore, we have going to take the C. Let's go to the last question. Both the passages support which of the following generalization. The human body and environment are delicate systems that require balance to function properly. There are many similarities between the systems that make up the human body and the water cycle. We are not talking about water cycle at all, so we are going to remove that. Acid rain is an important issue that will continue to impact the environment until we reduce the use of fossil fuels. We are talking about both the passages and just not one, so we have to remove C also. So any option that we choose should have both the options, both the passages. Medical treatment is necessary when the pH of a person drops below. No, we are not talking about this either. So this is not an option too. We are going to go with option number A. The human body and environment are delicate systems that require balance to function properly. Yes, this is the option that we have to go with. Now, when we talk about this, so we understood that in all the 11 questions, we had to go forth and go back and forth so that to understand it better, to get the right option. So make sure now I had enough time to do all this juggling, but you would not have so much time to juggle. So I told you how to get your answer. So make sure you underline uh, the words that are important in the first reading itself. You can take more time in reading both the passages, around 5 minutes, and then go to the questions and bounce back, because once you have both the passages are on your mind, and you are able to underline whatever is, making a flow chart. Making a flow chart does not mean that you're going to write lines and lines about the whole passage, more lines than it already has. So we are not talking about that. We are talking about basically making points so that you understand what that 5 lines is all about. If you don't understand that, then it's going to be a problem. I mean, you will be fumbling more, and it is not really going to help you. So therefore, make sure that you go forth and back, but with the proper purpose. Make sure that you underline words. Make sure you make a small note, 2 or 3 words note, that you will reckon what the answer could be, or should be, or maybe, or might be. So that is how you are going to do it. So all the very best for doing the reading passages. This is the last class on reading passages. So by now you must be well aware of how to go about the passages. See, see the options that we have spoken till now. You will see that some options are very, very clear, very, very clear. If you read the questions properly, dotting on the question is really important. I mean, really very easy. Like if you are going to the questions, if you read the last question, let's see, both passages support which of the following generalizations. That means any option that you choose should have both the options. Clear? Both the passages. You just cannot have one passage and you can get away with the answer. See, for example, in number D, it talks about only about the second passage. So therefore it is eliminated. So try to follow the elimination process. It will be going to be easier for you to get to the focus on the right answer. Like number C, it is only talking about the first passage. So therefore it is not necessary. In the option B, you will see that they're talking about human body and water cycle. Where did the water cycle come from? So it is completely eliminated. So you have to understand the intricacies, the small things that that will help you to eliminate the options and dot on the right one. Okay, so that's how you have to intelligently work on it, and you have to tap the right answer, eliminate the options, wrong options, and score well. Okay, so all the very best. I hope this session was useful and informative, and I hope you can use the techniques told here to ace better score. So thank you so much. I hope this all the very best for your examination. I hope this session really will help you in your scoring better. Okay, thank you.